Okay. Hello, I'm Michelle Fix, comedian.
Who?
Michelle Fix, comedian.
Right.
Also former and sometimes part-time home industry and fashion person when I can fit into my clothes.
Hey, I'm Steve Reich. I act once in a while when somebody calls me, and I practice law.
You
Emphasis
practice
on
it. You
law.
you gotta practice it. You're not done practicing.
Terms practice.
Okay. I think that's kind
Hey,
of funny that it's practice. You practice law your whole life. You don't ever get good at it. You just practice it.
I told the client I was practicing.
Exactly. I'm just practicing. That's all.
It's just practice. It's not called perfect.
Exactly. Everybody gets a trophy for practicing.
I was practicing filing your claim on time. I didn't make it.
But it was just practice. So,
All just
it's
practice.
all good.
This is the first uh, taping where I'm actually not wearing pants.
That's such good information. I'm
And it's
so
so great
glad.
because nobody
I'm so
needed to
glad
know
we all
that.
know that.
Yeah, no, nobody needed to know that, and I could have gotten away with it.
Oh, you totally could have gotten away with it.
Did you see the Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, Oprah Winfrey interview live?
I did not.
You did? Have you seen it in its entirety?
No. I have
Oh,
seen bits and pieces and snippets of it. I have read about it. I have been exposed to it, as they
you got
say.
you got briefed on it.
I got briefed on it, exactly.
Well, I watched it live. I wasn't missing it.
Oh,
Popcorn
you
ready.
did. You watched it live.
Yeah, I
Wow.
watched it live, and
Thoughts?
yeah. So my thoughts need to be tempered in the we'll put it this way, like preface. There's no secret the British royal family are pretty knee deep in scumbags. Okay, that goes back centuries. And number two, there's no secret that the British press are the lowest form of the earth. And before I saw the interview, I was like, man, they are so, like they've always been undoubtedly unfair to Meghan. Like that's just it's just to me that's just a fact. That's fine. But when I
Right.
saw this interview, well, let me finish. When I saw this interview, just from a personal perspective, I was like, I didn't like her like whole demeanor and delivery, and I found it very self-righteous and narcissistic, objectively speaking. Well, subjectively speaking, but that was just my take on it. I don't
Right.
necessarily disagree with her statements or the wrong, like I don't necessarily, like, if I was like a jury, I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna like grant her, her prayer for relief, but I don't like how it's coming across.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Interesting.
What are your
Um,
thoughts?
here are my thoughts. My thoughts are, yeah, I think the British press is total scum,
Yeah,
and
so
but they treated Fergie that way. They've
they were
they've
tough on
treated
on everyone. Yeah,
they're tough on anybody who enters the royal family. They just go after them.
yeah,
Um, unfortunately, since she's biracial, they clearly went after that aspect as well, which is disgusting.
yeah.
Um,
We're
I
all in
also,
agreement on that part.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I also think that, yeah, the royal family's history is, riddled with incredibly troubled, nasty, and you know, awful people. But it's also not. I mean, so
yeah,
you can't paint any family with a wide paintbrush because they're all kind of different. And Harry, I mean, they keep pointing this out. Harry wore a Nazi uniform to a Halloween party
hey, who hasn't?
years ago, so like his family's put up with his shenanigans,
I know.
and they've been very indulgent of him and supportive of him.
Now we're getting to the real good stuff.
Yeah, but
So
then
all
you
that said,
and all that said, like I've watched the whole Meghan Markle thing since the very beginning when she started dating him. So I've seen a lot of footage about her
you're an
and
early adopter.
her speaking, about things and what have you. And um I have a feeling this is like, it's one of those situations where, yeah, there are certain people who were probably like made inappropriate remarks and were a little bit like, um, but she's also the kind of person who, I just think she's a covert narcissist. Like
Covert?
she's a covert. There's a difference
Where's the
between
cover?
there's a difference between a narcissist and a covert narcissist. And I mean, like, and I've worked with women who behave just like she behaves. And so I'm like, oh, I totally recognize her brand
See,
of
that's what
bullshit.
I got. Like
It's like, I totally get her brand of bullshit. And
yeah.
not only is she like, she was completely unknown practically. I mean, who the fuck watches Suits? She
Whoa,
was like
hey,
completely
it's got a
unknown.
good fan. It's got a good fan base.
Whatever.
Got a good fan base.
B-rated actress
Yeah,
at best.
USA Network. Yeah, yeah.
Who
She wasn't
then
a movie. She wasn't a movie star. Let's put it that way.
she was on fucking Suits, all right. So, and in a FedEx commercial, whatever. So, so then the minute she launches Harry, she gets more notoriety, press, power, and influence than she could ever have gotten on her own.
Wait. She said she didn't really even know who he was.
I didn't even Google him. What? You didn't even Google him?
So I was like, oh, you're a liar.
Absolutely.
Oh, you're a liar.
She's a total liar. I worked with a guy who he came into the office and he was like, oh, I'm not the kind of person, who's going to like change everybody. You guys have been through so much. And he's like, I'm not even on LinkedIn. And every single one of us made eye contact and we're like, we just looked at your LinkedIn profile yesterday. So and she is that kind of person. And I watched her operate in the same way that this guy Jason did. Unbelievable. And they twist things so that they make you feel like they are manipulators. They are like
Exhibit A, Harry. Exhibit A, Harry is now ostracized from his entire family.
Exactly.
He's like feeding chickens in a little cinema.
Exactly. Like she is a fucking piece of work.
Moving on.
Moving on to Woody Allen.
Now to Woody Allen.
Woody Allen, another bullshitter.
Now, have you seen the documentary?
I have not. I actually don't have very many opinions about this. Only like I read Ronan Farrow's article, and when that was published, a year or two ago, or maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah. So I'll give a little background. So the documentary explores deeply how Woody and Mia's. Well, let me back up. Mia's one of her youngest daughters at the time in the 90s. I think it was the 90s. Alleges when she was like 8 that Woody molested her in the attic of Mia's Connecticut compound. And it's a pretty disturbing story, and there's disturbing footage of the young kid Dylan talking about the event, and so long story short, Woody was exonerated because really what happened was the DA in Connecticut felt like he had enough to pursue the case, but he didn't want to re-traumatize Dylan at the time, so he didn't pursue it because it wasn't a slam dunk. But he said he had enough, he thought, to indict. That's pretty heavy. That's a pretty heavy charge.
So I can understand how this has been like, something that he doesn't want to have taint his reputation. He saw what happened to Roman Polanski. He's not stupid. Like, he knows how this type of accusation could just completely tank his entire career. But he also then continues to make films where there's a 42 or 50-year-old man and a 17-year-old girl.
Well, that was a big thread. That was a big thread in the documentary. They're like, guys, it's in plain sight.
He's telling you. It's like Louis C.K. talking about jacking off all the time in all of his stand-up. He's telling you he's a creep. He is a creep. He's doing creepy things on stage.
Like, oh my God, you're a creep.
Exactly. And it's like, and then everyone, when he's a creep in real life, what? No.
Creep's gonna creep.
No. Exactly.
Well, so and then it's like, look at his position. He's like, why would you? I would never touch a child. Mia's child. I would never do that. I started dating her 18-year-old daughter, who I then married, but that was
never the 7. Yeah, that was a very good Woody impersonation.
We fell in love. We decided, but this one, it turns into like kind of like a Turkish like vendor at a bazaar at some point. But
That's why I haven't watched it, because I'm like, do I really need to go into a rage spiral about Woody Allen?
I just kind of get on a rage spiral in every direction.
Woody. Exactly.
And it's just, I'm not sure. You know, like before this came out, I was unpopular. Now I'm more unpopular. I don't.
Oh, exactly. And then we have Love
Something
of
we
My
can
Life.
all agree on.
No, then we have the Love of My Life. Andrew Cuomo.
On the stage, Mr. Cuomo.
Cuomo. Oh no.
I tell you,
No.
once the press gets the scent, you're screwed. I mean,
Yeah. And the New York press hates him because he doesn't. He's not a nice. I mean, I've seen him in press conferences. He's not a nice guy. He doesn't suffer fools. He doesn't think that he owes some of those jackass reporters any question, especially if you're from like a local newspaper. He's like, what the fuck? You know, like, give me some good reporters. Give me some real reporters in here. What are you doing in here, Albany Daily News?
It's like, we're in Albany. Whatever.
I don't care.
As a friend of mine said, Cuomo is not suffering this tremendous, probably career-ending backlash because of what he allegedly did or did not do. Cuomo is suffering this career-ending backlash because he's a dick.
Yes, exactly. He's a dick. Everybody hates him, and this is the perfect time for them to get their revenge. Rightly or not rightly, they're going to go after him with like every single nasty thing he said to another politician. Like, he doesn't play politics. He doesn't suck up to people. He doesn't play nice. And so they all fucking hate him.
It one step further than that.
It's
yeah,
not,
and we're not, you know, and obviously we're not exonerating the allegation. You know, there's one serious allegation of some groping in a mansion. I mean, that's different. But it's
right,
like everybody knows it's different.
Of course.
But everybody wants to lump everything together, and then this is like red meat to the right, where it's like, the cancel culture. And then now I'm going to push back on that because it's cancel culture. I'm like, every time you cry cancel culture, and then we read in deeper to what was canceled, I'm like, oh. For example, there was a woman who was a reporter who was supposed to be the head of Teen Vogue. And she lost the job because it was revealed that she had racist tweets against Asians about 10 years ago or something when she was in college. Correct. So on its face, you're like, oh, cancel culture. I mean, oh my God, she lost this job. It's like, all right, she apologized. And then I read the tweets and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I was like, well, and she had apologized, and I was like, listen, she apologized. And then I also saw the tweets, and I was like, oh, she was old enough to know that that's not cool.
It's like virulently racist.
Yeah, no.
I always thought, like, you know, going for Chinese food, hope I don't get an upset stomach. You know, and it was like, no, it was bad. It was like,
yeah, I know.
So you on the other
it's the same with the whole Dr. Seuss brouhaha where they were like, oh my God. And then you read the books and you're like, you know what? During their time, they're of their time, but they don't need to be republished.
Bad luck. And to clarify this for you Tucker Carlson jackasses.
Oh, I hate him.
The Seuss company removed the books. No one else. So shut up.
Exactly. So choke on your bow tie, you asshole. Did you know, and I didn't know this until about a week ago, that Tucker Carlson is from the Swanson frozen dinner family?
Shocker.
That fucker.
You know what? If anyone epitomizes a frozen, gross, like TV dinner where like your wife left you and this is all you can do and you got to reheat it in a microwave, it's that SOB.
Yeah.
Beep.
Exactly. Oh, look. It's the Hungry Man dinner.
Oh, cranberry.
Exactly. And there's nothing like hot cranberries.